YAAAMS Nation, I need you to listen closely because what we're talking about today cuts deep. They say power is an illusion, and no one has lived that illusion more than Sean Diddy Combs. Once seen as a king in hip-hop, now he's in handcuffs, facing charges of racketeering and sex trafficking.
District of New York.
The once celebrated rapper was arrested by federal agents Monday night at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City. At the center of those charges, alleged freak-offs or sex performances that authorities claim were planned and recorded.
And with his bail denied, we gotta wonder, was Diddy ever in control? Or was he just another puppet pulled by the hidden hands of the industry? This, my brothers and sisters, is bigger than Diddy. This is about the debate around hip-hop itself. There are a million videos out there about P. Diddy and his alleged crimes, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about how people try to shape opinions about black people through the lenses of rap culture. Now, people like Thomas Sowell, now listen to this, are out here saying that for black folks to succeed like whites, we have to destroy rap culture. And the very title of his video says it all. Check out this. Why blacks must destroy rap culture to succeed like whites. See, it's not only wrong, but it's disrespectful. One, we all know the culture controllers have always pulled the strings behind the scenes in hip hop. And two, it's like he doesn't understand that black people have been going through things in this country long before hip hop was even invented. And three, not all black people even listen to hip hop, especially nowadays. Just watch how they try to connect multiculturalism to the downfall of black people.
Multiculturalism has not only taken root in schools, I think it is uncritically accepted by a lot of Americans, haven't thought it through. In this book, you assault it head on. You describe it as a barrier to progress and a lot of other things. Explain why multiculturalism, if you would, is bad.
I guess it starts from a false premise, which is that there's something that all cultures are equal in some undefinable sense, which has never been the case.
So this Rachel Dolezal lookalike is saying cultures aren't equal. But yet the whole time he wants to push hip hop to the forefront of black culture. Hold on a minute. Black culture isn't just hip hop. We gave the world jazz, soul, blues, even rock and roll, and that's just in the music industry. And even though black people created all of that, they never controlled any of it, not even in hip hop. You see, it was never those black moguls running the show. These rap millionaires are just the name and the face of these billion-dollar companies. And this is an aspect people like Mr. Sowell never want to talk about when he is discussing rap music.
You cite, in Intellectuals and Race, you cite an observation by the intelligence expert, IQ scientist, James Flynn, that just stopped me cold. After the Second World War, you've got large numbers of American troops remaining in Germany. For that matter, there's still several tens of thousands there today. And both black and white American soldiers had children with German women. And Flynn discovered that those children growing up in Germany showed no IQ differences at all. The black kids and the white kids, the same. Quoting Intellectuals and Race, Professor Flynn concluded that the reason was that the offspring of black soldiers in Germany, and now you're quoting Professor Flynn, grew up in a nation with no black subculture, close quote. Which means what? Which means they experienced exactly the same expectations. Is this the...
No, the expectations are external. The culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America today.
So they had...
There's no gangster rap that was pervasively available in Germany.
There is something about black subculture in America today that holds African Americans themselves back?
Yes.
You see his nonsense there? You can't compare black people in America, what they go through, to black people in other countries. We know there has been a system in place since the beginning of this country, from Jim Crow to not hiring black people for jobs, denying business loans, to put in drugs in our communities, to redlining, mass incarcerations, voter suppression, and police brutality. I mean, I can go on for days, okay? There are so many factors that this so-called educated man ignores. That's why I call him a neo-puppet. It's like he was there to make excuses for America's treatment of black people, which happened long before gangster rap even existed. And you guys know, I've always been critical of hip hop over the years. But the difference in my critique is that I go after everybody, both the artists and the people who control hip hop. See, one of the most important aspects of rap music was distribution. And even at its peak, major distribution companies were owned by external entities, not black men. These companies handpick who got the deals. I mean, even today, artists can distribute their music online, but all the key platforms are still controlled by other people. Diddy's arrest is just another sign that all those black moguls were never really running the show. People like Diddy and all these rap millionaires, they're just the name and the face of hip hop. And these billion-dollar companies. You think they're rich, but they're not in control of anything. You remember that one scene in the movie Boomerang, where Eddie Murphy's character thought Lady Eloise, played by Eartha Kitt, had all the power? Remember when he spent one night with her believing it would lead to a promotion, only to discover she was just a figurehead, and all the real decisions were made by the board?
I don't want to blow my own horn, but I'm really qualified.
You shouldn't have to blow your own horn. You should leave that for someone else to do.
And that's exactly what's been happening in hip hop. These black millionaire moguls might seem like they're in charge. They're just the powerless face of these companies, just like Lady Eloise. And many of them will do anything to stay on top. Just like Marcus in the movie, taking down that old broad for promotion.
Are you trying to imply that I hit it? Oh no, I see what.
Marcus, darling.
Hey, how you doing, Lady Eloise?
I don't have any panties on.
Lady Eloise, please, we have a meeting. Can we just please go?
These hip-hop CEOs have done more than just freak-offs to appear rich and famous. But at any moment, if they step out of line, they'll get put right back in their place. And this is why Uncle Thomas has no clue of what goes on in hip-hop or black culture. And that's the whole point. These so-called education experts want to blame hip-hop for contributing to the downfall of black people, but never really want to talk about who controlled the hip-hop culture.
I mean, some cultures are better at some things, worse at other things, and at particular times in history, one group's culture may be ascendant and another time another group's. But what you almost never see is what they assume is a norm, namely all groups performing pretty much the same in all kinds of fields across the board. That you can go through centuries of history without finding a single example of that.
Now let me speak to you guys' hearts, just for a moment, because this message is for you. When Sowell talks about cultural differences, he tries to paint this picture that some groups just naturally do better than others. But let me tell you something. Hip-hop success isn't about one culture being better or worse. See, there was a time, my friends, when hip-hop had balance. Oh yes, there was socially conscious music that spoke life into our communities. It wasn't just about the streets. But something happened when outside forces took control. The message shifted. It became all about gangsters, thugs, and drugs. Not because that's who we are, because that's what they wanted to sell us. Just like when BET was owned by a black man, the channel had balance. It featured positive shows like Teen Summit, 106 in Park, BET News. But once the corporations took over, it started focusing on more content that showed the negative stereotypes in the reality shows, in the music videos that emphasize violence, materialism in hip hop. And yes, some of us fell for those tricks.
Absolutely. So when the multiculturalists say, for example, that the schools should not try to make black students speak standard English, the difference between speaking standard English and not speaking standard English can be huge in terms of your job, your careers, and all sorts of other things.
You see how crazy he sounds when he talks about multiculturalism? Like every black person is out here speaking jive. There are so many black folks who speak just fine. Now, I might not be one of them, but I'm a country boy. But I got my education. But it's ridiculous to ignore all the black people who don't speak slang or have anything to do with hip hop. Yet they face discrimination every day. They run into systematic barriers every day just because they're black, not because they don't speak well. And I'm tired of people acting like rap culture is black culture. It's hip hop culture. When rock and roll had a drug problem, they didn't call it white culture. They called it rock and roll drug culture. And when a rock star gets arrested, it doesn't reflect their entire community. But somehow, when a black individual gets in trouble, it's seen as a reflection of black culture. Why? Because of men like Mr. Sowell, who tries to connect the negative to all black people. This is one of the reasons why when a high-profile crime happens, black people are praying and hoping that it's not a black person who caused the crime, because we know the story will get spun to make it look like we're all that away.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
See, Diddy legal troubles highlight a harsh reality. Despite all his success, he found out he was just another black man who truly never had the power he thought he had. The culture, the music have been controlled by those who pull the strings from the shadows. Now, I'm not saying Diddy is innocent, but let's be real. There are plenty of powerful people in the industry who have done similar things and never spent a day in jail. Just as they control our black leaders, they also control the rappers and the entertainers. And will take them down whenever they want to. Just ask Kanye West about that.